Alright, I've got my Chevy G20 van here, and it's hot, and the air conditioning is not blowing cool. This is really the first summer I've had this van, so I'm going to recharge the freon. Alright, you're going to want to make sure that your van is set up for R134. Some of the older vans that were never converted are not, so you gotta check. Seems like it's usually written somewhere here. It's written here on the sticker on the condenser unit, R134A. So I have an older van that was converted, so my understanding is that the R134 hoses will not attach. Like, these are physically different size fittings on the older style. So if your air is not blowing cold, or if it's not cooling at all, you're probably going to need a couple of these, at least two of these. You might need the third one. If it's just like just went warm and it was cool recently, then one might do the trick just to get the pressure back up. Alright, so you're going to want to find this input, which on this one is on this inside of this little compressor tank thing, and then it's the only one that'll fit. So for instance, this is a different size. I tried to put it on, it's not the right one. That's the only one it's going to fit on. Alright, so on my other van, same looking tank, except it's turned so that this piece is actually on this side. It's going to be on this canister. Alright, so mine was hidden like this. So yours might look the same, it might look a little different. My other van doesn't have this rubber boot on it, just as an example. So if it doesn't fit, like this is a different size, this will not fit. It's not the right spot. Alright, you're going to want to turn on your van. You're going to want it to be warm so that you know that it's, when the air is blowing, that if it's cold, it's working. If it's not, it's not. And obviously if your vehicle is cool, you're not really going to know necessarily. Alright, make sure everything's turned all the way up. You want it to be blowing as hard and as cold as your vehicle will permit. Alright, so as long as your air conditioner is on, this should pressure up. We're gonna hold this trigger down. Basically, we're gonna use this whole can. We know we're gonna need it. See there, it's already gone up in pressure, so we're just gonna do this because we're gonna use the whole thing. We already know it. Oh, you hear that? You hear it start to cycle on? It's got enough pressure now. So the AC clutch is firing there. That's what's spinning. And mind you, I'm still holding this down. So now it's starting to run. The compressor, you see the clutch there trying to get going. And it's cycling off and on because there's not enough freon and not enough pressure in the freon tank here. So that should stay on once we get enough of this stuff in. Alright, so when you hold it, see, this is a false reading until that compressor kicks on. That's the true pressure. When the clutch there is firing, that's when you know that there's. So when it rides all the way up, when the clutch is off, that's not the true reading. It's that lower one when it fires on. So we know that this needs a lot more. And it's not staying on because there's not enough pressure. Alright, so now it's staying on longer as more pressure builds, but it's still shutting off. So just gonna use up this whole can as, you know, quick as I can. You'll know it by, when you shake it, you'll feel the cold move around. And when it quits shaking, do you see how it's staying on longer now? That's what you want. So, like I said, the more pressure in the canister, the little freon tank, the longer that clutch is going to stay on until it just stays on. So when I'm holding the trigger there, it goes all the way down. That doesn't mean anything. So it's still rating all the way at the bottom of. So we know we still have a little ways to go. All right, I think that one's empty. You can feel there's nothing in it. So I'm gonna put this new one on. All right, that's back on. I'm gonna. So if your compressor is shutting off like that, it's because there's not enough in there yet. But it won't turn on at all if there's none in there. And then eventually it should just stay on. As you get more R134 in there. So I'm still really low on the pressure side here. Oh, you see how it's staying on now? Yeah, now I got enough pressure. Now it's actually going to be working. Now it doesn't mean it's full. That just means there's enough to keep the compressor clutch on. Okay, so now that it's staying on, this is a true reading, or relatively true reading. So it's still low, right? But it's enough to keep it on. And you'll feel it in your fingers. You can feel the stuff like tingling as it goes down into the hose. Yay! I was a little nervous. I'd never seen this thing work, so I was hoping it was good and just needed freon. I got this in the winter time and fall. It was already cool. Didn't need it. We need a heater. We need the heater. Until about a week ago. Alright, this is probably empty now. It's still pretty low. So I'm glad I brought a third, maybe even a fourth can. The good news is 2 cans got it back on. You know, went from being the compressor being completely off to being on, staying on. So that's the good news. Gearing up for a hot summer, so it's only May. So I'm assuming we're gonna need. So it's in the green, but a third can is gonna be necessary. This one's out. Yeah, now it's fully out. Alright, another one. These are 12-ounce cans, so if you got the 18s, you might only need 2. I guess you don't really need to tip it over till the end, but. Alright, so you can see the compressor spinning freely in there. Alright, so we're getting up there. You can feel the tingly cold as it gets below here. You'll feel it coming through as this is dry. This side gets dry up here as it moves down, and then you'll feel like, no, the cold will only be here and then here. So, all right, I didn't even get, all right, I thought I'd get closer to 50 with that third bottle, but I'm gonna call it after this one because it's enough. I got one, I need to put this other bottle in my G30 van. So, all right, this should last I mean, unless you have a leak, this should last a couple summers. I always try to turn off my air, like the controls, every time I park. That has seemed to increase the longevity on my G30. The last time I just put a can in, but it had been, I think I went 4 years without needing to put a can in. So I think this one's done. One thing that changes as you work on this, fill it up, is this guy gets really cold to the touch, like a propane can, you know, when you're using it. Anyway, all right, put the little cappy back on. Now we'll go check. All right, let's see what this, oh, I can feel it already. Oh, yes. Oh, it feels so good, and it is hot. I'm sweating. There we go. Cranked up. Turn on the rear air. I said I took 3 cans, but the important thing is that was 36 ounces. So if you get 2 of those 18-ounce cans, that should do the trick. All right, Keely's staying cool. All right, here's the G30. I'm just gonna show you that it looks a little different, but the same function. Okay, so here's my G30, and this is a 1987, so a little older. This one still has the old sticker, I believe, the pre R134, but the way you know, like I said, is these end pieces they won't fit, as I understand. So there's a side you're not going to use. It's too big, it won't fit the, and then there's this one that fits the little hose adapter perfect. So you see there, instead of it being on this side, it was this side. All right, I hope that was helpful. If you've got a Chevy or a GMC, late 80s, early 90s, maybe even later in the 90s, just drop a comment about what vehicle you used, if this works, or if it doesn't work, if it looks different. So just so people searching can see, like, oh yeah, this worked for you know, a 1992 C1500 truck, you know, or whatever, or S10, or, you know, Jimmy Blazers, all these things. Okay, you may have seen another video on my camping channel that looked with me filling up this van with freon, and that might be informative too, so I'll put the link here. Thanks a lot.